looks like we should be going live here any minute, if not now. Hello everybody. I'm pretty sure we are live here on YouTube. So hello and welcome to the Marley Bird YouTube channel. And we are going to be talking about the Turkey Trot knitting clue today. I am joined by one of the testers who's going to help me answer questions and serve as a moderator. So we have Christina here today. Say hi, Christina. Hi, Christina. Everybody say hello. And while we are letting people join us, because it is Thanksgiving Day here in America in 2020, I'm going to set up some of the description stuff and get things all linked up. While I'm doing that, Christina, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself, how long you've been knitting, how long have you been a minion, and I don't know, just entertain them. Christina.
Entertain them.
You're like, I didn't sign up for this, Marley.
That's fine. I've been crocheting 7 years, almost 8 years. I started when my daughter was born, and then I started knitting when I turned 30, so about 4 years ago. So I've been a minion for longer than I've been knitting. I think I was inspired to knit when Marley was teaching her mom, of course. So those videos helped me a lot. So yeah, I enjoy knitting and crocheting, and I teach crochet to some of my students, my virtual students, through the school I teach at. So that's been fun. I have a little student who learned how to crochet all by herself, like just from videos with me. A lot of them had parents helping, but she didn't have any parents helping, and she's in 3rd or 4th grade, and she is so good. It's just so inspiring. So I can see why Marley loves doing what she does. She's way better of a teacher, I think, though. So
Oh, you're funny. So is this your first turkey trot that you've walked through on this side of the curtain?
Yes. I did not become a tester until, what did we make? When we made what is it called? The capelet thing. The capelet.
The leap
with the
day.
Knitting.
Is that was that the leap day? The shoulder hug capelet?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's when I first started testing. So turkey trot is a whole nother ball game though here. It's a lot of work goes into this, guys.
Yeah, dude. You're telling me. All right. So all I'm doing here, everybody, is I just added a bunch of information to the description box here on YouTube. I am going over here now to the actual day 2 page, and I'm adding a link to this video for people who want to come and join in. It's kind of weird when you are doing things like this on Zoom, you actually don't get the YouTube link until you start, which makes it a little bit difficult behind the scenes when you're a one-woman show like this to get everything to work properly without just having to be like, hey, so we're doing this little timeout while I fill in the blanks here. And so I appreciate the help here with Christina. I will let you guys know that we do have the chat room open in YouTube. That's where Christina is going to be looking and getting your questions and such. So as I'm showing you, walking you through rows 1 through 8, if there happens to be a question or something, she can help answer those questions, and she can directly say, you know, hey, Marley, we have a question. And so she's really going to be a huge help here. All right, check out video below. All right, so now we have updated the actual knitting page with a link to this video, so people should be able to find it with no problem. Okay, so now let me come over here. As you guys know, you're probably looking on the screen right now. This that you are looking at is the blog, right? This is the blog you guys go to every day to get the instructions for the turkey trot. You guys know how this rolls by now. I mean, I run all of my events the same way. We always have one main page that you will go to, and usually the first part of the page is explaining what the event is and giving you all the details, like the materials you might need or whatnot. And it's at the bottom bottom of the page where you will always find the links to the various clues or instructions for that particular day, whether we're doing it every hour, every 2 hours, every day. I mean, we have a lot of different events here that we do, but we keep them all pretty structured the same way, which means you will always, always, always go back to this blog post right here. So if you have not already set up a Marley Bird folder in your Chrome bookmark bar, go ahead and do that now. And then you can just take this and drop it right into that folder. And now every time I go to the folder, I can see my turkey trot. I also see I already added one right there, so I really don't need to add that one again. So I could delete it and then I have it right there. But each day I just have to come back, click that, and it takes me to this page. Oops, it's in drafts. That's because I'm in drafts. Sorry. But it'll take me to this page and I'm able to see what I need. I scroll down to the bottom. If you have vertigo, close your eyes because it can get a little bit woo. All the way down here, guys. When I say to the bottom, I mean to the bottom where it says get turkey trot clues here. There's even a finger that points down. And then you'll notice that each of those are hyperlinked. Okay. I probably should hyperlink that as well just to make it easier. But anyways, you click whatever you need and you carry on. So we're going to click for knitting clue number 2. I kept the same sort of information on knitting clue number 2 at the start as I did for knitting clue number 1. I'm not going to include it for the next one, but I just, because this is really the start of it all, I wanted to make sure everybody is used to it. I know that if you're part of the Minions group, you're already familiar with this image right here. All of the testers are using this image. So if you're asking a question and you see that image in their Facebook image, what's the word I'm looking, like Facebook avatar or whatever, you know that they actually test the pattern, so they know. Here, measurements, materials, gauge, all the stuff you need. There will be more stitches added to this list. I think in day 3, we add more stitches there. I will not add a schematic until we get to day 4 or 5. So that's why it says to be added. And then this time you're going to notice there are charts. Now, does that mean you have to know how to read a chart to get through today's instructions? Absolutely not. They are there purely for the people who like to read the charts and they like to see those instructions in chart format. I'm actually one of those people. So we have the key right here and then the charts, and they look super small. But here's the cool thing. If you click one of the charts, it'll open it up in a bigger image. Okay. I will go back and I will make that so that it opens up into a new tab, but this is the image. Okay. So what you are looking at essentially here is the right front of the piece you are making. So you would actually start over here, reading it from this side and begin to read across the charts. This is a full representation of all of the stitches that you are completing. All right. So that's all 100 stitches. I think for the smaller size. For the larger size, you have more rows out here. You can see here, repeat twice more for the larger, repeat twice more for the smaller. But all of this in here is the same. Okay, can you see that? So that's how that chart would work. So that's the right front, which means that your ribbing that you completed after, let me try this one more time. The ribbing you completed after day 1 is going to have to be assigned. One of them is going to be for your right. One of them is going to be for the left. So I did put a note in here. You'll notice that I said add a removable stitch marker to the one that you're going to indicate as the right. And then you know that every time you see it, you're like, oh, okay, that's the right one. All right, no big deal. Just make yourself a visual representation. The only difference between the right and left is obviously the position of the stitches that we're doing. So on the left front, our lace portion is over here. On the right front, our lace portion was over here. So that's the difference really between the two. Am I missing anything on that point, Christina, that they should probably know?
I don't think so. I think that's yeah, mark it so you know which one is which. But once you get the lace in, you'll know which side is which, I think.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely. Hey, Christina, real quick, leave a comment in the chat so I can make you a moderator, because once you leave a comment, I can give you moderator access. All right, so that's the information regarding the chart. So if you are a chart person, you can absolutely use those for this section. We also have charts for the next section also. I found them very helpful, especially as I was able to see across all of the stitches. you'll see that this time there are notes added. And so it gives you a lot more instructions as far as, you know, the size and whether petite and tall. I will tell you that when it comes to petite and tall, it's more important that you are going to get the proper length versus width. There is a lot of extra width already added to this piece. Wouldn't you? I mean, am I saying that correctly? There's a lot of, oh, what is the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh, it is totally like it's Thanksgiving brain is what it is. It's the difference between your body size and the size. Ease. Thank you. That's the word. There is already a lot of ease built into this. So if your gauge is off a little bit for your stitch gauge, I wouldn't stress too much about that. I would be more concerned when it's time to work a particular, like one of the right fronts or the left fronts or the rest of the piece to a certain distance. I would be more concerned to make sure that you make your piece long enough, if that makes any sense. Would you agree with that, Christina?
Yeah.
I think you'll be just fine. Again, you're going to keep everything on 2 separate circulars. Here's the video I just added with all of you here. And then I did go ahead and I added a link to a standalone video for how to cable without a cable needle. I did a standalone video for a cable 4 front. Even though we're doing 2 stitches, the process is the same of how to cable. So I went ahead and linked it in there so people could kind of, oh, okay, I see what's going on. And then there's the cable 4 back, same idea. It's so that you can get the general idea of how a cable works. I also added a standalone video for how to add a lifeline, which is going to be vital to all of you. Please, please, please do not hesitate to add a lifeline to your work, especially as we're all already super stressed out this holiday season. I mean, this year, right? So don't just think to yourself, oh, everything's fine. And then something messes up. And then you have the added stress of trying to fix a mistake later that you didn't add a lifeline to. Like, just add a lifeline to your work. It will save you so much time. And I just want to make sure I make that very clear. I did link to a standalone video for how to fix mistakes. And that's a video I did with my mom. I don't think I did a lot of instructions in there for how to fix lace, which is the area that I'm concerned most about if you guys mess up, because the rest of it's pretty easy to fix. It's the lace portion that I'm worried about. So I just want to make sure you add a lifeline. All right. So day 2, you're going to come after you've completed 2 sets of the ribbing. After day 1, you will still maintain both of those ribbings separately, and they will each have their own ball of yarn. Okay. Make sure their own ball of yarn. If you're using a striping yarn or some sort of a color changing yarn, I would actually recommend that you try really hard to start at the same color point on each ball of yarn for the sections, so that way both of your sides will match. Is it mandatory to do that? Absolutely not. But I don't want you to get like 8 inches into it and think, oh, I should have started at the same color point. I'm going to suggest that right now. It does not have to be, but I would suggest that. Right, Christina?
Yep. That's okay. What I would do too.
I mean, I wrote the pattern to be all made with a solid color, and that's why it's not written in there. But those of you who have gotten yarn that has a long color change, or maybe it has subtle change, like whatever it is, just try and start at the same color point on both of the sides. Okay. So you'll be working both of those sides independently, and I'm going to quote at the same time. All I mean by that is, I want you to like maybe do 8 rows on the right front, and then do 8 rows on the left front, and then do 8 rows on the right front, and then do 8 rows on the left front. Or if you want to complete the right front completely and then go and do the left front completely, I will leave that up to you. I don't necessarily mean like go through 1 row on the left and then 1 row on the right, 1 row on the right, and 1 row on the left. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't do that. But I do want you to try and maintain each of the fronts at the same pace. Is that clear? Am I saying that clearly? Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's what there was a question about it, but I think
okay,
you answered it. So
awesome. Perfectly. So you will keep those separate. You will keep those with their separate balls. You notice I put there once again that I highly recommend a lifeline. And then this is where it all starts. It says continue on the right front of your ribbing. And so that's where I'm going to start today, because it is only 8 rows, but for the smaller size, it's 100 stitches, right? So we're going to go through all 8 rows, all 100 stitches. I don't know how long that's going to take us here. We're going to just get cruising along and make it happen. I'm going to show you how to do a cable stitch without a cable needle, because when you're doing the honeycomb section, using a cable needle will actually slow you down, and it's very easy to do it without a cable needle. And I'm just going to show you how to do that. If you want to use a cable needle, you absolutely can, but I want to make sure that you have an option to use it without. If you've never done cables before, don't worry. They are so incredibly easy. You're just switching the position of stitches. That at the end of the day, that's all it is. We're knitting stitches out of order on purpose, and it's really super easy to do that. Because the fronts are the same as far as the weight, what the stitches are, they're just in different sections. I showed you that, right? Like it's going to be the lace is at the start of the right front and it's at the end of the left front. I'm only going to go through the right front today, if that's all right with all of you. But you'll notice they're both the same. This was a question that came up in the Minions group the other yesterday about the times, how many more times do you do something? And I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret here. When a designer gives you instructions where it says, like for this example, it says repeat rows 1 through 8 5 times more. That means you are not going to include the rows 1 through 8 you already did in your count of 5 times more. That means you're going to have 6 total repeats. Does that make sense? So you've worked through 1 through 8. Now it says, okay, you're going to go through 1 through 8 again, 5 times more. So whenever you see the word more, that's when the designer is telling you, okay, that's in addition to what you've already done. So if you ever have a question about that, a good designer does that. That's what we're supposed to do. That's the way it's technically supposed to be written. So if you're getting something different, I don't know why a designer would write it differently, but I'm just letting you kind of in on a little secret there. Okay. Does all that seem clear? Clear as mud? Yeah, give me thumbs up. Give me a hello. There's so many of you here. And I just want to say hello. I hope all of you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know that I had to cook a lot more than I planned, which is why we are going to be working on just some cast on stitches, because I planned on getting some ribbing done and I didn't get any of it done today because I was cooking all day long. So, hey, c'est la vie, right? We can work on it. We're just going to be fine. So I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know there are other people joining us around the world who are not celebrating Thanksgiving. I hope you had a wonderful Thursday. That sounds funny to say it like that. I do want to also remind everybody that we do have the amazing stash busting quickie bundles still available. And when you're on the website, there is a link on the sidebar if you want to check that out. Seriously, guys, this is the best deal on the internet. You're not going to find anything better all Black Friday weekend. Like, this is amazing. Even the group that I'm a part of that helped set up events like this, they're like, that is the best deal. Like, there's a couple people in there, they're like, I'm not even a crocheter or a knitter and I want to buy that, because I'm like, I gotta have it. So it's a really good deal. Make sure you check that out. All right, so Christina, I'm going to have you, let me come in here and find your name. I was talking so much, I didn't even get a chance to make you a moderator. So I want to make sure you're a moderator in the chat so you can answer people and take control of things over there. You can be the hammer this time, the hammer. I'm looking for you. Why don't I say
I just posted again, so
okay.
I don't know if that helps.
All right, I'm looking. So maybe there you are. Man, there's a delay. All right, let me click on that. And because there's so many people on the internet. Did you hear that there's like this major server thing that happened? Hold on, I can't talk and add moderator. There's a major server thing that happened and it's affecting like all these behind the scenes stuff this week. I mean, that's one of the reasons we had some problems with the links not working in emails. It was like there's this huge server thing happening. So anyways, so far YouTube's good, but Amazon was affected.
Oh boy.
Amazon on Black Friday. Like, seriously? All right. So my son is deciding to call me during a live. Like, who does that? So now I got to fix this. Sorry, guys. Maybe I got to make it so it's landscape. It's going to take a second. I apologize. You get to see my messy desk. Maybe. There we go. Let's put this back up and hope it stays landscape. It doesn't. and landscape. This is the behind the scenes hoopla. Oh, see what I did? Gosh darn it. Okay, so we are going to ask my son to not call me first off. And I'll make it a do not disturb. Okay, and there I am. We'll make it landscape. Turn it upside down. See, it goes back to, sorry, y'all. I had it right. And then
there you go.
What was going on?
Go.
Gosh darn it. Why are you doing this to me?
That wine bottle cozy thing there that you're seeing is actually in the Quickies bundle.
Yeah. Isn't that
So
cute? You like my mess over there?
it looks good.
All right. I'm like slowly turning. Please stay. And it goes back. All right. Sorry, guys. Talk amongst yourselves. What was your favorite? What was your favorite thing to eat at Thanksgiving? I think I fixed it.
I think you got it.
So my bread rolls this year were the bomb. Like, they're always really good. They were exceptionally good this year. Just gotta say, I killed it. I killed it. All right. So all of you have, I'm going to switch views here. So we're going to hopefully make this a pinned view. So I'm going to, I don't think I can, guys. I don't think I can. Let's see here. So I'm gonna mute this microphone and turn on the microphone to my computer or to my phone, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, give me a heads up. Can you all hear me? Yeah?
I can hear you.
All right, I'm gonna have to put in headphones. All the different changes here happening. It's gonna be weird. I'm gonna hear myself, but I wanna be able to hear you, Christina, so I gotta make sure I can hear what's happening. Lasagna, we had meatloaf.
That's a good one. That's different.
All right, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. All right, so this is gonna be fun. All right, so here is one of my squares. I'm gonna call it a square. You should have garter stitch on the bottom, some basic stockinette. And so you made 2 of these and you did some ribbing. And I have ribbing over here that I have started, which I should be able to use, but I already did some lace and I was like, oh, I gotta show you how to do that. So that's why we're not jumping into that right now. Okay, so what I have here is we're gonna pretend ribbing. So I have cast on 100 stitches. So we're going to pretend that this is where all of you are in your work as well. How about I go ahead and just do ribbing for 1 row, just so that I can get my fingers going here, but then also we can have at least somewhat a look of the stitches of what you did. Does that sound good? And while you're doing that, I'm also going to pull up the instructions just to make sure I have the exact instructions all of you have. It's good to see all of you here, by the way. So good. All right, that is the turkey trot crochet. This is not crochet. This is not your mother's crochet. Is that what people say all the time? And open this one. That's the knitting. That's the one we want. All right, so Christina, I absolutely can't see the chat at all. Not because something's wrong, just because I'm doing this. So okay. It is in your hands, my friend.
Gotcha.
All right. Okay, ladies and gents, let's see. On the pockets, on the wrong side, we started off with a knit one. So I'm just going to do, not on the pockets, on the ribbing portion. So I do knit 1 and then purl 2, knit 2. So I'm just going to do this 1 row just so that way I can kind of get into the groove here, if y'all don't mind. So while I'm doing this, Christina, do you want to tell them or have them tell me, or let's have them tell us what were some of their favorites? So if you want to read me what they were saying.
All right. Somebody had lasagna, which I always do lasagna on Christmas. Ham and stuffing and fruit salad. That would be good. What else do you guys like to eat? Pumpkin pie. Is it pie time for everybody? It's always pie time.
Mhm. Can everybody see my hands? I just want to make sure I put it on gallery view. I just want to make sure everybody is seeing my hands.
I'll let you know. It's a little bit of a
right now, I
delay.
think they just see you, Christina.
Okay.
So look pretty, my friend. All right, I'm pretty sure they can see.
They can, yeah.
All right, good. I just want to make sure. Just a reminder, I do obviously knit continental, but these stitches can be done with continental or English. So you could do whatever works for you. I'm just gonna get through here and remember that I'm doing a 2x2 ribbing so that hopefully I don't mess up, because that would be so ideal, messing up on 2x2 ribbing right here at the very start, right? All right, yes, you can see the hands. How many of you are excited about the turkey trot? And then how many of you, this is your first turkey trot? What'll be interesting, even if you are catching the replay, let us know if this is your first turkey trot. And if it is your first, lucky you, this is the first time we've actually done videos for turkey trot. We usually just have you use the instructions and there aren't any added videos. This is the first time I've done an added video. I would have done a recorded video, but I thought after all the Michael's classes I've been teaching lately and doing the live videos like this where people get to watch and knit with me, I feel like it's really helpful when you're doing an event like this. So I thought I would give this a try. If this doesn't work out well, we can always do pre-recorded lessons later and add those into the pattern as needed. But hopefully this was going to be good for all of you and you feel like you're a little bit in on the process together and able to ask me questions live. Hopefully will be helpful.
There are a ton of people saying this is their first turkey trot. So welcome to the madness.
I know. Welcome to the madness. I just messed up back there, but I caught it.
No.
Let's see, knit one. I know I can't be the only one who does this, where you get used to like a knit one, purl one, and then you're doing a knit two, purl two, and you're like, oh, I forgot one.
Yep.
And if I find that I forgot one somewhere down the row, we're not going to fix it. We're just going to carry on. I mean, if this was my real project, I would fix it, but because we're just working together on this essentially swatch, we're just going to carry on. All right, I'm almost to the end of the row. My fingers are starting to get a little nimble into the action. You have to get warmed up. Get warmed up. Okay, how's everybody doing? First turkey trot. So many first timers. It's so nice to have you here. My biggest piece of advice for those of you that are first time turkey trotters and your knitters is be patient with yourself, because there's absolutely no way we can keep up with the crocheters. Like, I mean, tell it, Christina.
Yeah, even in the tester groups, yeah, the crocheters were way faster than the knitters. So
yeah. And it's just the nature of the beast, y'all. I mean, crocheting is a lot faster than knitting. So it's just the way it goes.
It's worth it.
Purl two, knit one. Hey, I must have done it right because everything's coming out great. Okay. What is happening? I got to check something. There's a message coming up and I want to make sure. It looks like, oh, okay, I see. One of the testers messed up, but she's got to fix it. Our lovely Canadian. All right. Okay, y'all. So I'm going to look at the instructions for what was the right front ribbing. And so this is where we go, or not right front ribbing, right front, which will be worked on top of the right front ribbing. Yes? Everybody with me in the same place? Yes, yes. Give me a thumbs up, something. I want to make sure I have my screen like large print so I can see. It's crazy over here, y'all. I mean, look. This is what I see. Like, here's stats, here's your chat, here you are, here's my instructions. Like, it is insane. So let's hope this works out great. This is the way it goes. Okay, y'all. Hopefully you have stitch markers with you because you are going to need them. They will help you immensely. So we start off with a knit 1 and then knit 2, purl 2 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. If you're doing the larger size, it would be 5 times. And then you're going to add a marker. Here's a little side note, y'all. These are always in ribbing. These will always just maintain this. Okay, so you really don't have to think about this part too much. That's always going to be ribbing. This next part is where I have a knit through the back loop. And then I do some lace and we do a knit through the back loop and then paste a marker. So this little section here is the bit of lace that we're going to have. And it's really beautiful. And if you do it right, it will all come out just fine. So I do want to give you a tip here. On my pattern myself, I use the highlighter for this section of instructions from between where it says place marker to the next place marker, like highlight that in one color. And so then you'll always know that that set of instructions are for the lace. All right, I'll show you at the end how I do that also. So to knit 1 through the back leg, you simply go into the back leg and knit it. That's it. All right, so knit 1 through the back leg. And then we're gonna yarn over. So we yarn over our right hand needle. If you're holding your yarn in your other hand, you yarn over your right hand needle. Then we're gonna knit 2 together. So we're gonna knit this stitch and this stitch together. So I'm gonna go into both of them and knit them together. Oh, through the back leg. I was like, that doesn't look right. So we're gonna go into both of them through the back leg and knit them together. Then we knit 1 stitch, knit 2 together, regular, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together through the back leg, knit 1, knit 2 together, regular, yarn over, knit through the back leg, place a marker. So all of those instructions, the way they're written, from this marker to this marker, highlight it. So that way you know all of that is a lace section. And if you're ever wondering if you have the right number of stitches between this marker and this marker, you should always have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So after each time you finish that section, if you want to take a pause just to make sure everything's right and count and make sure you have 13 stitches between that marker and that marker, that will help you. You will also notice that for every yarn over, there's a decrease, okay? The only row that's different is when we have a decrease that gets rid of 2 stitches. So that 1 decrease counts as 2 decreases. But for the most part, you'll still have your 13 stitches there, even with that particular stitch. All right, you guys with me? Okay, so here's the next part. The next part is where I am throwing you right into the wolves with a cable front or cable 2 front and a cable 2 back. And ironically, I have to get a cable needle because I never use them. So I have to grab one. Give me just a second.
I use a double pointed needle when I do it instead of a cable needle.
Okay. Oops, sorry. Okay. Get my mark, so I own them. I just never use them. So there's a bunch of different stitch markers. That's not what I'm saying. Cable needles you can use. You just grab one and use it. I might actually use one of the bigger ones. That's a 4 and that's a 3. Okay. So we're going to do a cable 2 front and a cable 2 back. And you're going to see we're using no cable needles. I can't even say the word. You're going to see we're using no cable needles actually faster. All right, so I'll use a wood one to begin with. And we're going to do a cable 2 front. So if you scroll up, if you need the instructions for a cable 2 front, like written out in the section that says special stitches, you'll see where it says cable 2 back, cable 2 front. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this one stitch and slip it to your cable needle and hold it to the front of your work. So you go into the stitch as if to purl, take it off your left-hand needle, and just hold it to the front. Then we knit the next stitch. I'm sorry, purl. We're going to purl it. Here's a tip. No, I'm not going to do that. You're going to purl it. And then the stitch that we held to the front, I like to put it back onto my left-hand needle. And I'm going to knit it. Okay, so that leaves one purl stitch, one knit stitch, and the stitch that's like in front is knit. Now the next one, I'm going to do cable 2 back. So I'm going to take this stitch, move it to the back, and then I'll knit this one, and then I'll do that one. So I'm going to go into this stitch as if to purl, take it off, hold it to the back. I knit this stitch. I'll take the cable stitch, put it back on my left-hand needle, and I will purl that one. Okay. Let's do another one. This one here is cable 2 front. So I slip it onto my needle, my cable needle, hold it to the front, purl one, slip this back onto my needle, and knit one. The next one, slip to my cable needle, hold to the back, knit one, put the stitch from my cable needle back onto my left-hand needle, and purl one. What you will notice is whatever stitch is coming to the front, that one's getting knit. And whatever stitch is kind of going behind, that one's getting purled. Does that make sense? All right, so obviously you could probably tell it's pretty tedious to always move one stitch to a cable needle. So let me show you a trick. Our goal here, what we're essentially doing when we move a stitch to a cable needle is we're moving it out of the way, whether we're holding it to the front or we're holding it to the back, so that we can get to this stitch. And depending if we hold this stitch to the front or if we hold the stitch to the back, determines whether that goes behind or it goes for front, right? Okay. So if I'm going to go without a cable needle, I know that on this next stitch, this would be a cable 2 front. So this stitch, I want to be in the front, which means this one's I want to purl and I want to have it in the back. So what I'm going to do, if I want this stitch in the back, I take my right hand needle, I go into that stitch coming from the back, pinch the bottom, let those 2 stitches come off of my left hand needle. So now you see how the stitch that was in front is just kind of loose there. Pop that back onto your left hand needle. Now you've switched their position and put the stitch that you had put your needle into before is now in front. So now you can work them as they're supposed to be. So this is supposed to be purled, and that's supposed to be knit. For this one, it'd be the opposite. I want that stitch to be in front of this one. So I'll grab it from the front. I still pinch, which is going to make that stitch right there be free when I take my needle out. So I put that back on the needle, and then I just switch their position. So now the stitch is in the position I want it to be. I knit it. Oops, split my yarn. And then I purl this one. All right, so here we go. I want this one in back. So I pinch it, change their position, and I purl and I knit. I want this one in front, pinch it, change their position, knit one, purl one. Am I going too fast, Christina?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Nobody's said anything yet.
Okay, so the way I think about it, guys, when I don't use a cable needle, I often think to myself, what is the second set of stitches? What is it doing? Because the cable instructions are telling you what to do with the first set of stitches, because the first set of stitches is slip one to the cable needle, hold it to the front, or hold it to the back, right? But when I'm not using a cable needle, I need to know where that one's going to go. And I know that for this one, I need it behind this one. So I go in and just change their position. And then I keep purl and knit. Can you see that? This one goes to the front. All right, so I'm going to cruise down this row because I know that people can come back and rewatch this. Plus, we're going to have to do this again. So I just want to get through this. And those of you who are like, oh my gosh, this is so tedious. You don't have to cable every single row. It's what, every 4th row?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? I'm not looking at the pattern, so you're going to tell me.
It's row 1 and then row 5. So
there you go. So it's not that often you have to do this. And so this row will slow you down if you're using a cable needle. It is not a shameful thing to use a cable needle. So don't feel like, oh, I can't use a cable needle because Marley doesn't. Don't do that. If you ever get stuck and can't remember where you are in your pattern, I'm going to show you what to do as far as looking. You should be able to see your knits. They're like coming together. Can you see that? So it's coming together, coming together, coming together, coming together. So I'm still maintaining my knit 2, purl 2, but I've just changed the position of the stitches. And this gets a really cool honeycomb look. And it helps hold the weight of the piece. And as it stretches a little bit, you get a really nice look. It's pretty awesome, in my opinion. But this row does take a little bit of time. So yeah, I have no idea how live this or how long this live is going to be. But I'm here to show you, and we can work this out. So you can't say I didn't show you. I think I messed that one up. Nope, I didn't. It's hard to talk at the same time. So I'm supposed to do this a set number of times. I need to go back and read. Sorry. Doing this all at the same time is difficult. So I'm going to do this 15 times, and then I end with a knit one through the back loop or back leg, and then add a marker. So then I will have a knit one, and then do that 3 times, 2, 3. So right there is where I'm ending. Just because I'm talking to you guys, I'm going to mark that so that I don't mess up and forget. If I weren't trying to teach at the same time, I would just count, but I want to make sure, which is why it'll be easier once that marker is there. I'm just preemptively putting it there. All right. All right, Christina, how are things going?
Looks good. Somebody asked if you can make your screen bigger so they can see it better.
I could try. Let me see here. If I do that, I'm going to do this, Christina, and I'm going to mute you because if you talk, it'll go to you. So when you need to talk, unmute you.
Okay.
All right. Does that make it better, y'all? Hopefully it does. We'll see. We'll see how this works. This is how Zoom goes. Makes it a little tricky. You'll notice it's so much faster without a cable needle. And by the time you're done with this project, you're going to be very familiar with cables. Because honestly, this piece, like, it is so beautiful, y'all. It's so beautiful. I even asked the testers, I'm like, should I change it? Because it has the cables. I don't want to scare people. And all of them are like, no, don't change it. It's so beautiful. It's not a difficult cable to do. Any of them are, whether it's this cable pattern or one that comes up in the future. I will be giving you guys an option to maintain this cable pattern instead of the future one if you wanted to, like if you were just too scared to try the other cable pattern. But honestly, if you can do this, you can do the other one. It's, I mean, a cable is a cable. It's really not that hard. Oops. I'll go like this. I split the yarn. There we go. This is the longest row. This is why I pre-record stuff. So this is the stuff that normally I would just fast forward through. Y'all don't have to see it. But now you have seriously seen me do a whole repeat. So this would be the one. I would knit one through the back leg. And all that does, you guys, it just twists this one stitch up along that line, and it just looks really good. If you forget to do a knit through the back leg and you just knit it, it's okay. And then from this point, we would jump to ribbing again. So I would do purl 2, knit 2. That was 1, purl 2, knit 2. That's 2, purl 2, knit 2. That's 3. And then I end with a knit 1. I am also going to point out, you'll notice I didn't say to slip the first stitch. Do not do that. Keep them as knits, okay, throughout the project. All right, not bad. We're on to row 2. Okay, so I'm on row 2. This is a wrong side row. Essentially, you're going to knit your knits, purl your purls, but you do have that purl through the back leg you have to be concerned about. So I'm going, oops. See, I just told you not to do that. All right, so knit 1, and then purl 2, knit 2. So this is where it becomes rather easy to do the ribbing to the marker, so you don't have to think about it too much. That's why I have the markers there. So I slip my marker. And then because I wanted to keep this with that twisted stitch, a nice twisted line, I'm going to purl through the back leg. So I bring my yarn forward and I'm going to go into the back leg coming this way. Okay. So normally I would go in like this. I'm going to come in like this, yarn over, and then pull it out. You guys want to see that again? I think I have it. All right. I think I have it twisted. So you're going to go in like this, yarn over and out. Okay. So that's the purl through the back leg. And then it says knit 1. And you'll notice this is going to jump into exactly what your stitches are. So I go into a purl 2, knit 2, and that's exactly what I'm looking at. So if for some reason that's not the case for you, you messed up somewhere on the previous row, because you should be able just to do knit your knits, purl your purls at this point. Is that how you remembered it on your end, Christina?
Yeah, eventually you'll get the hang of what you're supposed to be doing once you get a little bit of the work in there, knitting and knowing where the knits and purls are supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm just going along. Obviously, it's faster on the non-cable rows, which is good. And like I said, everybody, the knitting is going to take a while just because of the nature of it. I mean, we wanted to do something a little bit bigger than what just a garter stitch, right? Like this is going to be beautiful. When you're done with this, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's so pretty. All the testers are feeling that way, at least. So let's hope that they are the general consensus of everybody else. All right. I'm coming up to the end here. And I do want to remember to do a purl through the back leg here. So if you wanted to remember, it's always the one stitch after this marker and the one stitch before this marker. Purl through the back leg. Right? Oh no, that should have just been a knit 1. I'm sorry. That should just be a knit 1. I apologize. So this is a purl through the back leg after this marker. Come all the way down and you end with a knit 1. Slip the marker. Here's the purl through the back leg right here. So it's after this marker. I was like, I know it's here. I used that for a reason. Okay, so purl through the back leg. On your lace stitches, it's always just purl across 11. So you'll just purl these stitches until you get to the one right before your marker, and you will purl it through the back leg. Oh, that's a purl through the back leg. So go just like this and purl it. Slip my marker, and I'm back to my ribbing. So I will knit my knits, purl my purls, and end with that knit stitch. So that row took me 4 minutes. Okay, so I turn. We're on row 3. I have to scroll up. I'm going to go to gallery view real quick. How we doing, Christina? Oh, you're on mute, hun. I gotcha.
Not too many questions so far.
Okay.
Everybody seems good to go.
Good. So I'm guessing here's my guess, and I'm going to let people tell me. I'll go through all 8 rows if y'all want me to, but I'm guessing that once we get through several rows here, my biggest concern is the one lace row. I think it's row 7. where it gets a little tricky. I kind of want to get to row 7. So I'm just going to keep going here. All right, so I'm just doing ribbing. So I'm just going to knit my knits, purl my purls. So you don't have to be over stressed about the pattern at this point, right? Because it's like, all right, I'm just knitting my knits, purling my purls. Then I get to my lace section, which is only 13 stitches that I have to stress about. I knit one through the back leg. Now I jump in to my lace pattern. Again, highlight this. It will make things easier. Yarn over, knit 1, SK2P. So I'm going to scroll up to make sure that I am giving it or doing exactly. You slip 1 as if to knit. You knit 2 together. And then you pass the slip stitch over. I got to scroll back down. So that was a SK2P. Now we knit 1, yarn over, knit 1 through the back leg. No, I jumped ahead. It's because I'm scrolling.
Regular.
SK2P, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, SK2P. So slip 1 zip to knit 2 together, pass slip stitch over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1 through the back leg, slip marker. You guys see that? I'm going to look at the instructions. I actually think with that row, you essentially know exactly what you're doing with everything. All the lace, you should know all the lace stitches now.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. There you go. Okay, so now we're going on to the next part. So we've slipped our marker, and now we're going to purl 1. See, it's a purl there, so we purl 1. Let me get you back here on speaker view. So I'm going to purl 1, and then I jump into my knit 2, purl 2, which is exactly what I'm looking at. So I don't really have to think too much about it. I just purl 1, and then I do knit 2, purl 2. So I'm going to do that all the way down. And while I'm doing that, trying to think of a story or something to keep you entertained as I'm just knitting. Do you know that when I was teaching beginner knitters at my local yarn store, when we would get to day 4 of beginner knitting, we would learn cables and we would learn lace in the same class. And so I had a lot of experienced knitters who would be like, why are you teaching a beginner class on their 4th day doing this stuff? And I'm like, because it's really not that difficult. And I feel like we scare a lot of people. We tell them, oh, lace is so hard, cables is so hard. In reality, it's not. It's just takes a little time to explain it, what they're doing. But overall, it's still just part of knitting. We're doing decreases and increases. And then with cables, you're just changing the position of stitches. There's no big secret to it. So I always felt it was important to demystify those 2 particular techniques, especially to beginners, because I feel like if you can knit and purl, you can do lace. You can do cables. There's nothing to restrict you for that. All right, so I end with a knit through the back leg. If I got to come over here and look. Yep, knit through the back leg, slip my marker, and then I go to my ribbing again, which I really don't have to think too much because it is purl 2, knit 2. Right? And I end with my knit 1. So with this particular pattern, there's a part that comes on day 3 where we change up the cable pattern a little bit. And it's a beautiful cable stitch pattern. And honest to God, I feel like if beginners looked at it without any of the instructions or anything else, they'd be like, oh, I can't do that. And I am here to tell you, you can do it. If you can do these cables, you can do the other cables. They're easy. They really, really, really are. Just take your time. And it's not a race, y'all. I've said this several times. Don't compare our speed to the crocheters. And even like breaking up the instructions the way I have to, I honestly will be shocked if people keep up with the daily amount that needs to be done, because I know not everybody is, oh, this needs to be purled through the back leg. I know not everybody is fast as I am or some other people. So it's going to be fine. If it takes you 2 weeks, if it takes you 3 weeks to finish this, I don't care. It's going to be beautiful. You're going to wear it with pride. It's going to be gorgeous. And you should be super proud of yourself. So I want to give, I guess, permission to everybody to go at your own speed. Don't stress yourself out trying to keep up with anything. The instructions are always going to be online, so you're not missing out. Just enjoy the process and enjoy what you're making, because it really is super beautiful. So if you caught this, I am on row 4 and I'm still knitting my knits, purling my purls. And then on my twisted stitches, I am purling those through the back leg. And you can see here, I'm just cruising along on these rows. It's pretty easy. It's the cable rows that act up a little bit. Let's see here. I mean, I'm going pretty fast now.
Someone asked what you would consider tall as far as adjusting the length. What do you consider to be tall?
Sure. So what we're making, I actually based it off of a size of a garment that I found at Target. And I am 5'10". And the garment was technically supposed to fit me, but it was too short. The width was fine, but it was short. So that's why I adjusted the sizing in here to be taller, so that way it could fit better. So essentially what you will end up doing, you guys, is when your fronts are done, you're going to hold it at your shoulder and let it drop from the front of your like from your shoulder down the front of your body, and decide if you feel like that's long enough. So that's essentially what we're gonna do. And at that point, you'll have a really good idea of what we're making, because I'll give you a schematic. And that'll be at the end of day 4. Is it 4 or 5? 4. End of 3. I don't know. I can't remember because I'm in the process of doing all this. You will know what's going on and you'll be able to see what's happening. But if you were to go into Target and put on a piece that is supposed to be a one size fits most, and you wish it was a little bit bigger, then you should make the bigger size of this. If you always feel like, oh, that fits just fine, then make the regular size, the smaller size of this. Does that help? Can you let me know if that answered their question?
She said thank you, so I think she's good to go.
Okay, good. Notice I'm on the lace section here, and I did purl through the back leg on the one stitch after the marker, and I'm purling over to the stitch before my next marker, and it's in that one. I'll purl through the back leg again. Slip my marker, and then I'm right back to my ribbing. So if you notice, after you get through that first row, which took me a good amount of time, it's a lot of, all right, this isn't so hard. So there's maybe 13 stitches of the lace section I have to pay attention to, but everything else, I've made it very easy to just read your stitches and do what they are. Okay, I did that on purpose because 2020 has been stressful. I wanted to have a little bit of no stress. Okay, so I'm turning, I'm on a row 5. My biggest part here is row 5. I have my lace, and on row 5, I have cables again. So I'm going to be moving stitches. And what you'll notice is last time I took this stitch and put that knit that way and put that knit that way. This time they're going to go back the opposite. So last time I started with fronts. This time I'm going to start with backs. It's just the opposite. It's pretty easy. So let's get through row 5 here. Am I going at a good speed here for everybody? I hope so. Once I get my fingers all in the action of it, I'm like, all right, let's do this. And thank goodness I don't have to be a thrower on all of these because it'd be really slow. I'm so not fast. All right, knit through the back leg and row 5. Knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together through the back leg, knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together through the back leg, knit 1 through the back leg. See, it's not too hard. I mean, it's only 13 stitches. That's all it is. All right, so now we get to our cables. So show of hands, I need to know how many of you want me to do it with a cable needle or without a cable needle. That's funny. Hooks, ups, needles ready, yarn. Elma Clark says, I switched to doing the knitted version because Marley kept saying how beautiful it is. It really is. Back me up on this, Christina. Tell them how beautiful it is. I'm going to take a drink of my coffee while can I just put this down for just a second? I'm going to.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really pretty. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. The knit one's beautiful. The crochet one's beautiful too. I feel like maybe people feel like I'm dissing it. I'm not. Like, it's gorgeous.
No, I'm gonna make the crochet one too. Eventually, you know.
When I saw Jory's, that really pretty pink, I was like, oh, I gotta have that.
Yeah.
Gotta have that now. Gotta have that now. All right. So some people are saying with, some people are saying without. So I will do both. All right. So I'm gonna turn off my camera. And here we go. Back to the grind. All right. So I'll start off with, and then we'll go without. So for this one, as I mentioned, on this row, we're going to start off with a cable to back. Whereas before we started with the cable to front, this one we're going to the back. So I take my cable needle, I go into this stitch and I move it to the back. I knit the next stitch, bring this stitch back to my cable or to my needle, and I purl it. I want you guys to notice something. Have you put together yet that the knits are always the ones that are on front? So if I looked at this, even without knowing whether it was a cable back or front, I could say, oh, that one right there, that one needs to go to the back because I need to make sure this one is on the front of the fabric. So I know that I'm just slipping that to a cable needle, holding it to the front. I'm maintaining my cable pattern. So I purl that one, put that one back on my needle, and I knit that one. You see what I mean? So I'm looking at that, it's a purl. I know it has to go to the back. And that means I know this has to be knit. I put that back on and I purl. I'm looking at that, it's a knit. I want it in front, so I need to get it out of the way so I can deal with this one. It's purl. And you can knit off of your cable needle. You can see I'm more cumbersome trying to do that, which is why I put it back on the needle. Yeah, you tell doing out. So sanitary. Nobody wants to use my needles now. So slip it to the back and knit this one. Put that one on. purl, and go on. So what you'll notice, it kind of looks like it's still just ribbing, but if you start to spread them apart, you get a really cool look there. Christina, do you have yours with you so that you can kind of give them? So while I am going,
I will grab it.
Okay, she's gonna grab hers. While she's doing that, I'm gonna do it without a cable needle. And it's the same sort of deal, guys. I think to myself, what stitch needs to be in front? Which one needs to be in back? And I often think to myself, what does the second stitch need to do? And the reason is because I have to deal with that second stitch first, because that's the one I'm moving. So when I'm doing it without a cable needle, I'm like, where does this stitch ultimately have to go? Well, it's a knit stitch, so I know it's going to go in front. So I grab it from the front, change their position, and then I keep whatever they are. If it's a knit, I knit it. If it's a purl, I purl it. This one is a purl, so I know it's going to go behind that. So I grab it from behind, I purl, and I knit. All right, so she has hers, so I'm going to put it back on gallery.
Okay.
Here we are.
Trying not to give everything away here.
Oh, I know.
I think so. There you go.
Oh, it's so pretty. Yeah, so stretch it.
So there's the ribbing on the edge. And then there's the honeycomb. And then my lace is over here.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to put the camera on you.
Okay.
It's not working for me. Sorry. I got to go back to gallery. All right, go ahead.
That's all right. Okay.
Yeah, the lace is pretty.
The lace. Yeah. So you
and you're using Chic Sheet.
Yep. I think I'm using the same color platinum. Is that what I'm using?
Yes, this is actually, look at this one. This one's Peyton's Classic Wool.
Yeah. Chic Sheet. All the testers were saying how much they love the definition of the stitches with Chic Sheet compared to.
Yeah, it definitely looks really pretty. It looks really pretty.
Just wait until you see the rest, everybody.
Oh my gosh, you guys. It's so pretty. Like, I can't wait. I cannot wait. I am curious if people have an idea of what we're making. And remember, I said it's my take on a popular pattern. So I'm curious if people have an idea.
Let's see if anybody has.
All right. So I still have us on gallery so you can talk without an issue.
Okay.
I'm hoping people are okay with that because I know it makes my hands a little bit smaller, but I'm not doing anything new.
Yeah.
It's the same stuff. Tell me what they're saying.
Somebody said yes. Guess what? I think I know. Somebody else says yes. Somebody says pocket shawl.
Interesting.
Let's see what else.
Seems to be a lot of people who think we're making a pocket shawl, which is interesting to me.
It's the hip and happening.
It's the hip and happen. It's the hip to the hip. You don't stop the jiggy. Blah 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 blah.
A sweater coat with pockets, over shoulder cowl.
Over shoulder cowl. That's a new one. I'm going faster without the cable needle. Can you guys tell? Because I don't have to like put my work down and get a cable needle and get it moving. Do you use a cable needle, Christina, or not?
I use a double point needle, but I watching what you're doing because I tried to do the whole pinch thing, but I wasn't doing it the same way you were doing it. So I was like really having to hold on to my stitch from like slipping and it's stretching out. So, but I kind of think I might have to try it that way.
I'm telling you, like the minute, you know who taught me this? Annie Modisette, God bless her soul. She taught me how to cable without a cable needle. And ever since she taught me, and she explained it the way I'm explaining it to you guys, of pay attention to what the second stitch needs to do. Because cable instructions with a cable needle are telling you what the first stitch or the first set of stitches need to do. But when you're using no cable needle, You're concerned where the second set or the second stitch needs to be, because that's what I'm moving, right? That's what I'm moving it in a different position. I don't know. I have true story. I went to Creative Bug to teach classes, and it was a class on cables, and I forgot a cable needle because I don't use it. Like, I don't even think about it. And so I'm reading my script and it said, okay, now you grab a cable needle. And I like paused. I was like, oh crap, I totally forgot. So I had to grab my double point and say, you could use anything you want. So, all right. So I did a twisted stitch at the end. Is that what I'm supposed to do? I got to look back at the instructions. Yep. Knit through the back leg. And again, that twist the stitches. Slip my marker, and then I jumped to knit 2, purl 2. So how long did that one take me? How long was that row? Is that about 10 minutes?
Maybe.
All right, so I'm just trying to give people a good idea.
I timed myself through the whole repeat, so then I would know like how long I was going to take for each repeat after that.
Right. All right, so now I'm back to a wrong side row. So my only thing I need to be super concerned with here is making sure I do the purl through the back legs like I'm supposed to. I know it's right here on this first one. Purl through the back leg. And now I just, okay, so it changed up on me, right? Because I moved my stitches. But still, if I'm looking at a purl, I purl it. If I'm looking at a knit, I knit it. And then I just jump into my pattern. I don't have to stress about it anymore. I knit my knits, purl my purls. So I don't have to think too much. You guys will appreciate this, I promise. It might seem a little tedious on the actual cable rows, but when you don't really have to think too much about the stitches as you're working across, it becomes so much easier. And knowing that too, if you only wanted to keep your lifeline just in the lace stitches, if you're confident in your picking up stitches, even in cables, you could just do a lifeline in the lace stitches. Totally up to you. I mean, part of me feels like if you're going to put it in, just put it in through all of them and be done with it. So that way you have it. Personally.
Yeah. Marla was on here and she was saying that she was the perfect example of why she needs a lifeline.
Poor Marla. Poor Marla. Marla is one of our testers, guys. She is Canadian. She's my emotional support Canadian. I love her. But she just made a mistake on the test. She forgot something. So she has to rip out. Poor girl. That sucks. That sucks bad. All right, getting through here. I mean, I'm zooming here.
You are.
Right? Just gets going. So when people tell me, they're like, oh, you can't finish that in the time frame. I'm like, I can. That's what I try and base everything on, right? It's like, can I do it? Okay, if I can do it, we'll get through that. Alrighty here. And Christina, you're on day 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And it's going just fine?
Going good.
Awesome.
Excited.
You guys, these testers, they have watched me go through it, man. Because they watched me go through all of the bundle planning with Tamara and then planning the turkey trot and everything else we have going on. I mean, think about this. After turkey trot, y'all, we roll right into 24 days of quickies. So we have 24 days of quickies coming up, which, Christina, I just thought about this. The first 24 day of quickie knit pattern is actually what you're wearing. Oh, yeah. So remember what I was saying earlier? Like, that's not going to work because this is, and the thing is, I know it's not a quick pattern, but I thought it was beautiful and I thought it was a great gift to the knitters.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is row 6. No, this is row 7. Honestly, I'm going to get through this row and then we're going to call it a night, y'all, because you could do row 8 because it's just like all the other wrong side rows. And this row you actually know how to do too, but we're going to get through it just to make sure. We're going to get these happening. Again, I'm just knitting in my knits, purling my purls. You'll notice by keeping that first stitch as a knit every row or as a purl every row, I get that really nice like garter stitch right there. I don't know, I like it.
The edge looks really nice on this compared
I
to
like
other
it.
stuff I've seen. Yeah, it's
really I think
good.
it's cool. All right,
Ruth
so knit
is
through the
asking,
back leg. Go ahead.
Ruth is asking, how many hours per day did you plan on for this project? I think that depends on how fast you knit.
Yeah, it really does depend. I mean, for me, each section would be a full 8 hours. Like I planned on this is all you were doing. And I know that depends on how fast you knit. I mean, you guys are seeing how fast I knit. So yeah. Okay. So I knit through the back leg. I got to make sure I'm on the right row. Hold on. Row 7, knit through the back leg. Okay. I'm going to go on speaker view so that way they can get a better close up. So I've already done my knit through the back leg of the lace. So now I do my knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, slip 1 as if to knit 2 together, pass the slip stitch over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together through the back leg, knit 1 through the back leg, slip your marker. And you guys, I'm telling you, this little lace bit just adds just that little something. All right. So what you're going to notice, you see how you kind of have this triangle right there. So it's like we have a set one here, set one here, set one here. So on the next one, it'll be right here, right here. Like it just looks really beautiful. It's actually a 2 repeat of a lace pattern. And now I don't have to think too much of this one because I just knit my knits, purl my purls. So if I'm looking at a knit, I knit it. If I'm looking at a purl, I purl it. And keep it pretty easy. Yeah. That's it. Those are, at least these are the 7 rows. The 8th row, obviously, it's just a wrong side row, which you'll get very familiar with. But I tried to keep this relatively simple with just a couple of, I'm going to call them action rows, even though all the rows are action for the lace, but it's only 13 stitches. I feel like you can keep track of that. If you need to keep track of what row you're on, I recommend using a row counter or adding tick marks to your pattern just to kind of be like, okay, after I finish this row, I add a tick mark. If you've done other knit alongs with me, you could also make yourself a spreadsheet and do like a repeat of 1 through 8. And then, you have 5 more times to do it. So you do 1 through 8 and then do that 5 more times. And you can just do a check mark for every time you complete each row. Like there's lots of different ways you can help yourself keep track. Before I let you get off this call, I'm going to show you how I highlighted the sections in the actual pattern. So that way you can understand what I mean by highlighting. Christine and I were talking earlier of how that really helps because it's like, oh, okay, I'm on this section. Oh, okay, this is what I'm doing. And I've done that for years just to help myself. I'm such a visual learner. So it's something that I've just always done. These rows are easy, man. You just don't have to do anything. You just like knit purl with that one random knit through the back leg, which I did because I really liked that definition of that twisted stitch. I think it's pretty. It's a knit. You guys see that? So you can see here already where it's starting to, so like there's one honeycomb, here's will be the next one. That's how that will be. And on this row, I would just be on my wrong side row. All right, so that's 1 through 7. Should I, you know what? I told everybody I was gonna do 8 at the start. So I'm gonna do 8 just so they don't call me a liar.
Would it be hard for you to show how to do a lifeline on this row?
Oh, I could do that.
Somebody was asking, and I pointed them to your other video, but I figured if you're doing row 8,
Yeah.
maybe you want to do that.
Let me grab a yarn. Actually, let me get through this row and then I'll add a lifeline. I like to add it after the fact, so let me do it afterwards. Are they asking me how to rip back to a lifeline? You know what I mean?
I don't know. It looks like she just said, can you demo a lifeline? So
demo how to add?
Just how to add it.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
She says something again.
Okay. Let me just get through. I usually like to add a lifeline after I finish a row. I don't know why I didn't just add it before I started this. I mean, just, I guess because I'm not thinking. Look, I didn't even have to remind myself about a purl through the back leg. Like it just because like I'm at the point now where it becomes a natural habit. So you will get to that point too, you guys. I promise. Melissa Craig, I think you're talking about the crochet pattern. You will get to a front post half double crochet, a shallow front post half double crochet. Christina, can you check and see if that's part of this set of instructions? If it is, I'll have to go back and give those instructions into the pattern. I didn't think we did those yet. If we did, you will be doing shallow front post half double crochets, and we have a video for it, so you'll know how to do it. Okay, it looks like I'm going to have to add. That's my fault. It's actually written in the pattern, but I didn't think you had it in this clue, so I didn't add it, but I will add it. I have a video for it for shallow stitches. You know what? I had it in there too, and I took it out because I was like, oh, I don't want to confuse them. Because last night somebody was asking me about doing a different stitch, and I was like, no, you don't do that yet. Don't worry about it. So I just eliminated it.
Yeah, it is part of
Okay.
clue number 2. So
Right.
they're saying somebody in the Minions group asked and put a video there, but I don't know. She said she'll go check it out, but just hold on and she'll
yeah, I'll get it in the pattern. Just give me just a second. I mean, it's written in the master pattern. It's just not online. So I'll pop it in just a second. You give me just a second. Get through this row. Obviously, you guys can see I'm not even having to look at a pattern anymore. Like, you just get used to it, right? It becomes fairly easy. I mean, I'm not saying you're going to be able to watch TV constantly, but I mean, there might be a couple times you have to look away from the TV to do the lace, but then you can watch TV. Okay. There's rows 1 through 8. Right there. To add a lifeline, grab some yarn or string and thread it onto a tapestry needle. All right, so if you got through 1 through 8, you're like, okay, I want to add a lifeline. I will put my stitches down on the cord and I just run my needle through the stitches, but do not run it through your marker. Okay, you don't want it through your marker. So you want to go around your marker. Get some yarn here. So you go around the marker and then you just go some more. And once you get them all on there, you just ignore that string and continue knitting. So I'm going to ignore that marker, going around it. And this is how easy it is. It just takes a minute or two just to run them through. And what happens here is if you had to take your needles out, obviously your stitches aren't going to drop any further than where this string is. So they're going to hold the stitches for you. And you just take another needle. I actually recommend taking a smaller needle, getting them on a smaller needle, and then knitting them off onto the size needle you want to use. And then carry on. So everything is stuck where you want it to be. I will also recommend adding your marker after a wrong side row. So that way you already have those yarn overs and such already worked through. Does that make sense? I mean, not that you can't add it after a right side row, just a suggestion. Here's a pro tip. Put a pom-pom on your scissors. You'll never lose them. Here's the other pro tip. Once you add your lifeline, take the ends and tie a knot in them. So that way, if you were to accidentally grab one, it doesn't like pull out. You know what I mean? So tie the knot so that it's just hanging out there loosely. But now I would just carry on with my pattern and I just ignore my lifeline. I just pull it out of the way. Make sure you don't knit into it. And that's it. That's all you do. Okay. Is that good? I'm gonna go back over here, camera. All right. Actually, here I am. Maybe I'll turn this camera off. Stop video. All right, so while I have you here, while they're asking questions and such, did I miss anything? Is there anything else you guys want to know? Don't everybody talk at once.
I'm waiting to see if anybody comments and says anything. But
I know, right? I got yarn everywhere. Story of my life. Yarn all over the place. I want to know if this is helpful too. Was this something that you guys found helpful? That this was like, okay, this is really good. I will show you all really quickly what I was talking about with the highlighting. Let me share. So you guys, you're going to see everything. So this is my desktop, but this is the full on pattern. And can you see how I have the orange highlighted? The orange is actually the lace. The yellow is the cable portion. And so I kept it that way throughout the pattern. So that way you recognize what everything is. So that's the way it is on the back end. That's what we did on ours, which I found really helpful. So if you are ever interested in doing something like that, that's a really good way to help you stay organized into what the sections are. Yeah, so Christy, I'm gonna have you let me know what questions there are, because I'm gonna come in here and add what needs to be added for the crocheters while we're live on air and answering questions. So that way I can make sure it is updated.
So far, it looks good.
Good.
Somebody who said they'll have to go back and watch for the cabling again, which is always a plus. You can go back and rewatch this and slow it down, and pause and come back. Someone's going to catch the replay.
Good.
So, but a lot of people are saying this is a really big help to watch it live and everything.
Good.
Good times.
Awesome. Do they like that it's live and they can ask questions, or would you prefer that it was pre-recorded, like sort of this short little snippet? Okay, I'm curious what they think.
A few people in the beginning said they liked this setup, so we'll see if now that they've gone through the whole thing, what everybody says.
All right.
Somebody wants to know if there's a way to get the pattern without all of the ads and all of the extras.
So yeah, actually, after the event, I will sell an ad-free PDF. So the only way that I can afford technically to do this event for free is to have ads on my website. So you can get the ad-free PDF after the event is over, or if you are like other people, they will actually do copy and paste of the instructions and put them somewhere else. But the ads are actually, they're there to help pay me, so that way you guys don't have to do that. We just try and keep it nice and affordable for everybody. So just so you guys know, that's why there are ads. And it's not like I go in and add extra ads. Like, that doesn't happen. That's not what I do. And actually have an ad service, and they put the ads in. I don't put them in at all. They do all of the work there. And I'm going to add this extra video too here. So yeah, that's how that works. I have actually a whole post about how people can make money by doing free patterns like this. And so if you're interested, you're more than welcome to watch that out. And I mean, there's no judgment in me saying, like, I am not judging you for asking me that. Like, please don't take that, because I'm not at all. I mean, I get it. I didn't know either. And I would ask the same thing. Copy and paste into like a Google Doc if you want, or if you can just put up with them for now and then buy the ad-free PDF, then you get it without the ads, and you're supporting me if you like the pattern. Like, that's a great way to do it. All right, so I just updated with the shallow post video link and shallow post written instructions in the special stitches. So they're there. And I apologize. I honestly didn't think they were in that part of the instructions. That's why I actually took them out. I should have double checked, but I didn't. Say love you guys. That's very hard. All right, so I updated it. It's good. Everything should be good. It looks like on my end, everything looks great for the knitters. I'm guessing you all agree with that. Give me a thumbs up, please.
Did ask if you have any tips about knitting from a chart. So I don't know if you have any videos
from a chart. I don't think I have particular videos. Do you guys want me to pull up this particular chart and like talk to you through it a little bit? I could do that. Is that good? All right, let me come over here and open it, and then we'll do a screen share, because I think that would be the best way. Let me scroll up so that you guys don't have to see that. All right, so, and I'll do screen share. Okay, so now we're doing a screen share. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you can see this, because I can't see your chat, so I don't know. So I'm gonna have Christina make sure you can see my screen. So this is the actual pattern, right, for day 2. So again, if you double click the image, it opens up the chart larger. When you're reading charts, you start reading the chart from right to left. So I would start over here. There's also really helpful, because you can see it says number 1 right next to that row. So that lets you know that's row 1. It also lets you know that's the right side, because this is RS. So you start reading over here with row 1, and you want to have the legend with you. But we know that on a right side, a blank square is knit. So this would be knit 1. That's the one that we're keeping in garter. And then we have knit 2, purl 2. So the dots are purls on the right side, and they're knits on the wrong side. But if you think of it honestly as I'm knitting my knits and purling my purls, depending on which side I'm on, you really don't have to think too much about this part, right? It's over here where the action really helps the most. So this little kind of, can I make it bigger? So this twisted looks like kind of a ribbon. That lets you know that that is a stitch that is knit or purl through the back leg to create a twisted stitch. So that's why you see all of those as ribbons. And when we were working, we either knit those through the back leg or purled those through the back leg. The circle, that's a yarn over, which is kind of intuitive because it creates a hole. So it creates a circle. Think of it this way. If you are not a combination knitter, you see that line that goes that direction. So you could think of that as an SSK, or it's a decrease that leans to the left. And so in the legend, that will tell you that this is a knit 2 together through the back leg. And if you can think about that line as your right hand needle in where the ultimate position is. So if you were to put your needle into those 2 stitches on your left hand needle through the back leg, your right hand needle actually goes that same direction as that line. Am I making sense? Okay. And then same thing, when you come over here and you see this line, This line is a decrease that leans to the right. So we have our 2 stitches over here, right? When you take your right hand needle and you go into those 2 stitches to knit them together, what does my right hand needle look like? It looks like it's this line, right? So honestly, when I look at charts, that's what I think about. I'm like, oh, those lines, that's like the direction where my needle is going. I don't know why that works for me, but it's on those particular lines that helps me. But so as you're working across this row, I can tell you this is a knit 1 through the back leg, yarn over, knit 2 together through the back leg, knit 1. This is a knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together through the back leg, knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit through the back leg. Make sense? Okay. The thing that changes a little bit here is right here. Those are your SK2P, right? Is that what that was? So this one, you would slip 1, you have a knit 2 together. So that's where that line over here, like that's knit 2 together, and then you're passing that one over. So it's like, that's why you have all of that going on. Okay. But still, you know what that stitch is now. It's pretty easy. But that's how I read charts. Like I look at those lines, and even if they had a line on the bottom of it, like if it was like a T, right? This part, the top part that's slanting, that's the direction your right hand needle is in the stitch. Hopefully that makes sense and I didn't super confuse you. Like that was like eye-opening for me when I found that out.
Someone just really said, cool. Aha moment.
Right? It was so good. Wait, mute that, mute. Okay. Are you good? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's one of those things like when I recognized that, I was like, that is the coolest thing. Like that just was like, oh, that's so awesome. So that's the one thing. Here's the next thing. So in the cable section, we know that these blank spots and dots, those are knits and purls. Those are our ribbing. We know that, right? We just went through all of that. It's the X's here that are interesting. Notice how this one here, the white is on top of the black. Can you see that? And this one, the white is on top of the black. It's always on top of the black, but they go in different directions. Okay, so think of this. These are 2 stitches. Here's a white one. It's on top of the second stitch. It's in front of the second stitch. This is a cable 2 front, right? That white, this first stitch is in front of the second stitch. It's a cable 2 front. This one here, see how the first stitch is black and it's behind the second stitch? It's in back. Ta-da! Cable 2 front, cable 2 back. And the tricky here is that we're going to keep that back stitch, whatever the back stitch is always purled. Notice that like the black there is in back and then it leads right up into a purl like column. Same thing here. This stitch right here is a purl. It leans this way, goes behind the second stitch, but it goes into a purl column. And then when we get up here to row, what was that, row 7? So when we get up here to row 7 and it changes, notice this first stitch is behind the second stitch. So that's our cable 2 back, and it goes into a purl column. And this one over here, our first stitch is in front of our second stitch, but the one that's in back goes to a purl column. So notice these columns, they change every 4 rows. We're just changing how they are. And that gives us the honeycomb. Does that help look at this chart and be like, oh, I see. I can see, said the blind man, right? This is why it's such a visual representation when you're looking at charts. You can look at this and say, okay, obviously the one that's in front is the one that's not like, it's not delineated. If the black were in front, it would be a solid black line across, but the black is divided, right, by the solid white. And so that lets you know that this white stitch, or what would be a white set if it were more stitches, are in front of the second stitch, or the second set if it were more stitches. Is that clear? I want to make sure that's clear. But even right here, you can see here, it's every 4 stitches, right? So we have a cable 2 front, a cable 2 back, a cable 2 front, a cable 2 back. And you're just paying attention to what this first stitch is. This first stitch is a cable is going to be in the front. So you're going to hold it to the front. This first stitch right here is a black one. It's going to be behind the second stitch. So I know I hold it to the back. This one here is to the front. I hold it to the front. This one's behind. I hold it behind. It's pretty common sense along those ways. As I go down the whole row, again, I have twisted stitches right down here. And then I go into ribbing. And for the sizing difference, you'll notice I kept my center stitches. All of these, the lace and the cables are the same for both sizes. The only place it gets different in sizing is the ribbing section out here. And I did that on purpose so that it could be very easy for all of us to stay on the same track. Okay. It's very interesting when I'm designing something like this because I have to think more than just, oh, this is a beautiful design. I have to think about how can people approach this without knowing what they're making and still maintain control of the stitches, the stitch counts, and what's happening, and make it so that it's still easy enough for them to still not know what they're making, but be confident in what they're doing. So I have to think along all of those things when I'm designing a piece. When I'm just designing any old piece, I can do anything I want. It doesn't matter how much yarn I use. It doesn't matter what stitches I use. It doesn't matter if one size has 5 repeats, if another size has 7 repeats. It doesn't matter. But when I'm doing something like this, I'm very conscientious of making sure that things work well for everybody. So that's why the sizing for this, I made it so it just changes on the ribbing section, because we can all do ribbing, right? It just makes that a little bit bigger. It looks equally pretty, but we kept the center bit where it's all of the action, all of the texture stitches. They're all the same for everybody, and it's able to be very consistent along the way for everybody. So it just makes it really nice. So there's a lot of work on my end when I go into this. I'm also always very aware of making sure you don't get bored with the stitches you're using, which is why after this section, you actually change, I'm going to tell you, you change the center bit of the honeycomb. We change the center stitches, like a series of them on the honeycomb section to change it up a little bit. And it's beautiful. If you can do this cable, you can do those cables. They are worth it, you guys. Believe in yourself, because it is so worth it. It is so pretty. So pretty. So pretty. All right. Did that answer the questions?
Yeah, a lot of them are super excited and said like really, really good tips. And you just totally made a huge difference for CB.
For CB, so, for cable back, maybe?
No, CB is the person's, it's their name, CB.
Oh, I get it. Okay, awesome. Well, good. That makes me happy. I mean, that's, all of you are here on YouTube because you're probably visual learners too. So think of a chart as a visual symbol representation of what you're doing. If you want to, you can go even one step further and color in the white parts. So like color in the ones that are in front, that are the cable fronts, like make those blue, and the cable backs, make those orange. So then you can always have color coding too, right? I do that literally all the time because words get jumbled up for me, and symbols, sometimes I can mix and match symbols, but if I have colors, sky's the limit. I mean, you guys should see some of my my cable charts. It's just a bunch of colors, but I know exactly what's going on. So there would be no symbols of, oh, this one looks like it's in front of that one. It would just be like 4 blocks of blue, 4 blocks of orange, because that's all I need to know. I just need to know what the color is. And if I assign that color to a particular stitch, I know exactly what it is. I don't have to worry about it. I don't know. Yeah. The things we do, right?
I think like when you were talking about highlighting the patterns, so that's if you copy and paste and do that whole thing, or wait and buy the thing. If you have stitch markers that happen to have a highlighter color that goes with it, like say you have pink, so you're like, oh, I'm in the pink section, and like your stuff's highlighted pink, and then
that's brilliant.
I thought about that because now we have like 5 stitch markers, right, or something.
Yeah,
like that. But I'm like, I need to be like, oh, but I end up knowing, like, because I end up having to use some big stitch markers. I'm like, oh, this is my cable section, or this is my
yeah, you start to identify. I mean, and all in all, that's what those stitch markers are for, right, guys? I mean, stitch markers are there to be a visual representation for you to say something changes here. pay attention. Yep. Something's happening here. That's why I've marked this point in the pattern. So that's what your stitch marker is for. So, I mean, use highlighters, use colors, use charts, use spreadsheets. I mean, I know a lot of you have worked with me on events before where I have made the spreadsheets for you. You can do that. And you don't have to write in all the instructions. Like I said, this is a repeat of 1 through 8. So take a spreadsheet and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then copy and paste that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then just check it off as you finish each one. Then you'll always know where you are. And then if you do that, you check it off and do that for column, in one column for right side, and then do the same thing for another column for your left side, you'll know exactly where you are on both. All of these things, these sort of knitting hacks or way to keep track, like crocheters do it too. It's all to help you. And I think it's all that, I mean, we've learned these sort of coping skills or mechanisms in all sorts of things that we've done in life, whether you do it in a cookbook, different things you might do with driving. There's no reason to not do it with your knitting or crochet. Do what helps you get through the process and make sure you're happy doing it. Duh, you have my permission. Yeah. All right, good. Yeah. People are good. They're spending time with the video. They're happy. Oh, this makes me happy. So good. Donna says, my ribbing at the end of clue number 1 doesn't work correctly. What did I do wrong? I don't think you did anything wrong, Donna. Are you making the larger size? So Donna, tell me if you're making the larger size. I don't think you did anything wrong. I mean, even the larger sizes, I don't think anything changes.
We'll see.
I bet you're fine, Donna. I bet you're fine.
I have to tell you that my son has been in and out of this from when we started, and he's the N Ross in there. Says make the like button blue too. He's like, I liked the video.
Oh, I love it. That's so cute. I love that.
If only he'd start knitting or crocheting, but he won't.
What'd you say?
I said if only he'd start knitting or crocheting.
I know, right?
He doesn't want to. My daughter either.
So she's making the regular size. Donna, did you make sure that you started with a knit and then jumped into the knit 2 purl 2 and then ended with a knit? I wouldn't stress too much about it, Donna. If you make both of the ribbings the same and then make the rest of the pattern fine, I think you'll be just fine. But without seeing your work, I'm not sure. I'm not purling the pearls and knitting the knits though. After row 1, get through row 1 and you should be just fine. Get through row 1 and you should be just fine. So I don't know if y'all saw this, but I have special fabrics that were made. But can you see the like button? Have you guys noticed the bird smashing a like button? If you've watched some of my recent videos, you've seen that I've added it in there, but I had that made. It's the cutest thing. Just a heads up, we have less than 100 bags left of the Marley and Moogly bags if you're interested. And we have a little bit over 100 bags left of the size small Marley Made Me Do It bags. And so these are going to be a collection, y'all. So the larges sold out. So these are the ones that are on sale now, or the smaller size. And then during the game day event, you guys have to come back for game day. We'll have the sock bag available. So there's going to be an option. So you want to make sure you start your collection. So those are available too. Okay. Donna, I bet you're just fine. Get through row 1. Get through row 1, Donna. Make sure that everything worked out as far as you ended up with the correct stitch count, and everything should be just fine past that. Okay. After row 1. I bet you're just fine. Cool. I love it. All right. So I feel like everybody feels like they're pretty good. Crafty Ferret Mama Marley, you have helped me with a very difficult day for me. So thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry it was a difficult day. I know it was a difficult day for a bunch of different people out there. Hopefully I brought you a little bit of joy here in the late evening time frame. But I can't wait to see your projects. I also want to reiterate the fact, I know you guys are going to take some time on this, and that's okay. Like, it's okay. I decided a long time ago, I was not going to skimp on knitting designs for the sake of time. And it is important to me that the knitters have an equally beautiful project just like the crocheters. And so even though crocheters can go faster, I still wanted you to have an equally beautiful project. That's why I chose to continue with this project, even with the amount of knitting that goes into it. And I mean, you can see Christina shaking her head, like nodding her head. I mean, you guys, it's so pretty. It's so worth it. Just stick with it. I promise you, it is so pretty. It is so pretty. Everybody who has seen it is like, wow, that's gorgeous. And I'm like, and I would show you the design sketched out, but that would give it all away. Yeah. So I don't want to do that. But it is so pretty. Okay. All right, y'all. So go to knit, go have a great time. I hope you have a wonderful evening. All of the next set of instructions, I think I said 9 o'clock tomorrow. I'm going to go, 9 a.m. So I know you won't be through all this by 9 a.m., but I had to start at 9 a.m. to give the next set of instructions. Just know that you're just going to be knitting a lot. You're just going to be knitting a lot and like a lot. So make sure you take your ibuprofen, make sure you stretch your fingers, take breaks, go to the bathroom, do all the things, but have a good time. Like more than anything, have a good time. If it's stressing you out, put it down. You can always come back to it later. That's the beauty of your knitting. It's always there waiting for you. It's always there waiting for you. I mean, I have projects that are 7 years old waiting for me. So I know it's always going to be there waiting for you. If you have any trouble, don't forget to join the Marley's Minions Facebook group. All of the testers, just like Christina, are in there answering questions. You can, again, identify them by their Facebook image is with that. It's a turkey trot and it's all orange on the outside. I go in there, I'm asking questions too, and there's specific threads for each day's clue. So if you're on clue number 1 or clue number 2 or clue number 3, make sure you ask in the appropriate thread. And then I haven't even announced all the prizes. I'm going to start giving away prizes tomorrow. Chrissy, my new executive assistant, you guys, she's gotten prizes. Oh my gosh. I haven't even opened up. Let me see here if I can. I don't even know if I can find it. She sent me a link for all of the prizes. I don't see it. I'm going to have to find it later. She has so many different prizes from Signature Needle Arts. Ooh. I know. Erin Lane bags. Gosh, I can't even think of who else right now. Like she was like, I'm going to see if they want to just give out prizes. And so we have a lot of different prizes to give out. I'll be doing that to people who ask questions. I'll be doing that to people who post progress pictures. I'm just willy-nilly going to just be like, I feel like giving away a prize. I'm going to do that. So make sure you're asking questions and posting pictures in the progress thread. If you don't want to know anything or be spoiled, do not open the progress thread. Okay. Yeah. Just letting you know there. Just know that. All right. So, I have to go to the bathroom. So I'm going to get off the phone here. Go have fun knitting, you guys. And I'll see you tomorrow.